93.5 KWDC. This is Movie Talk. I am your host, Alton Henry. Right next to me is
Paul Besto.
And the guy on the street.
And today is directors. We're continuing our discussion with Paul Thomas Anderson. And we're going to be talking about the film Magnolia. Has anybody seen that film yet?
I have seen it.
I loved it.
And I love it, yeah.
And I've seen it too. And in fact, I was just watching it before we came here. I didn't finish watching the whole thing, but I've seen it 3 times already.
Okay, good. I was going to say, I've told you to watch that movie so many times.
This film was recommended to me, and the first time I watched it, I didn't really like it, but then I started watching it again and again, and as I kept watching it, I was really in awe of the bold statements it made and the poetry, and it still stands as one of my favorite poetic films of all time.
I was actually taken aback when I actually saw it because when I first became familiar with Paul Thomas Anderson, there was There Will Be Blood, then his next film, The Master, then Inherent Vice, and I've noticed that he always has these wide shot angles in his films. And when I watched Magnolia, he didn't really do that. So I guess he was trying to figure out what kind of style that he wanted to do before he wanted to do his. I guess his next film right after, with Magnolia, which is a great movie.
Very underrated.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about it, which is odd.
Yeah, and also it also got Tom Cruise his Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
I actually thought he was going to win it that year. Everybody thought he was going to win it that year for his performance, which was really, really graphic as I guess you say a poet, as you guys are saying.
Yeah.
Very good motivational speaker for going after a woman.
I think that's one of my favorite Tom Cruise roles. I really like him in Eyes Wide Shut. I think Eyes Wide Shut's my favorite, but I think it's the second favorite.
I love him as a guest star in Tropical Thunder.
Yeah.
Tropical Thunder
Thunder, yeah.
Oh my God, you can't even tell it's him, but he's such a great actor.
My favorite Tom Cruise film would be Collateral, where he plays the villain.
I just got that one.
Oh yeah, he's in that one.
Yeah.
All right, so what's this film about? Let's inform everybody.
This film is about an examination of characters through their struggles and how they intertwine with each other. How many characters are here? There's like 13 characters.
There's 9. The film follows like 9 characters and with intertwining lives that investigate themes of forgiveness, regret, and redemption, all taking place in the San Fernando Valley. And Anderson once said that, for better or for worse, this is the best movie I'll ever make. And I kind of agree with that.
I agreed with it till the end. I got lost in the end.
I think we're going to talk about the end later. Okay. That's going to be the best part to talk about.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think it's one of his best films. Like I said, it's very poetic.
A lot of B-rated actors in this movie as well.
Well, like Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore before she really got famous. You have,
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, Philip Seymour. I'm thinking the guy, he was in The Ringer. Not The Ringer.
William H. Macy.
There it is. William H. Macy, Fargo. Yeah,
and also the guy who played Dr. Octavius in Spider-Man 2.
John C. Reilly is
John C.
gone
Reilly.
from comedy to drama now.
Which honestly, when I first saw John C. Reilly in the Step Brothers, I didn't know he's been around that long. He's been around since the 80s.
Time.
Yeah,
he's on TV.
He's one of the great underknown actors.
So this movie basically takes place in the course of 24 hours in the San Fernando Valley, like I was saying before, and the stories are intercut and unfold linearly. I can't say that word, but the editing is really great in this film because sometimes it's hard for audiences to keep up with 9 characters.
Mm-hmm.
And but the way the film is cut, it's neatly cut where if one scene kind of ends on a low note or a high note, another scene will do the exact same thing, and it will just kind of work together with one another.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cue. It's kind of like a rhythm, like whatever like rhythm that takes place in the next scene. If it kind of, I guess, meet the same sort of feel to it, you'll transition to the next scene, and it kind of fits. Yeah, kind of like a poem.
All right, let's explain all the 9 characters in the film if we can. This one's kind of hard because there's a lot to keep track of in this film, and it is fairly complex because there's a lot of characters and supporting characters.
Tom Cruise.
We'll try our best. Okay, so we have Tom Cruise,
he's a guy who's a motivational guy to help men get women in bed.
Yeah,
and it makes him very confident. And his side story is it's a lot of anger towards his father, who is dying, I believe, right? He has a terminal disease, and he's dying. and he just does not care. He does not love his father, does not like his father, hates his father, pretty much to the death of it. And I don't know, do we do a spoiler right now?
No.
All right.
But the interviewer is basically kind of like he's being interviewed. Tom Cruise is being interviewed, and she's basically keeps asking, "Well, what's your relationship with your father?" And she keeps testing him, and there's a lot of scenes where he's like at his boiling point and he just bursts, and he's great there. So we have the Tom Cruise story where he's the motivational speaker.
Then you have the wife who's dating the dying man, which is played by Julianne Moore, who pretty much married him only for his money. And then while she was with him, she eventually does fall in love with him, and then wants to try to, repent for what she's done. I guess try to be much more of a loving and caring person who wants to not take the will and trying to reestablish her connection with him before he dies.
And she's also, I believe, a dope fiend, right? She's on meth.
The other. That's another story.
No.
Don't get confused with the stories.
No, I think you're confusing with the
John C. Reilly story where he's a policeman.
Yeah.
And he's asking this woman who just got a divorce or whatnot out, and she goes out with him, but.
No. John C. Reilly's the one who just got
we're
divorced.
Gonna get everybody confused here. Okay, anyway,
Something
back
like
to Julianne.
that.
Julianne Moore. Yeah. I know she's a guy that has a lot of adultery. She pulls a lot of adultery, and I believe her father finds her, right, during an act?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, Julianne Moore, she's married to the rich guy, wants love, sleeps around, gets caught by the dad. And where do we go there, Paul?
And then the next story is actually one of my favorite stories, is the kid, and there's like a child and his father, and the father has put him through this kids show, which is called What Do Kids Know? And it's basically like Jeopardy, but for kids. And the whole time, the child is wanting to go to the bathroom, but the dad is like, no, you have to stay on air, and everyone is just keeping him there, where like the child is being controlled, and it's a pretty sad story. But one of my favorite ones out of all of them. Another story is we already talked about the John C. Reilly one. He's like the cop. He loses his gun when someone's shooting at him on the job. He loses his gun and he's searching for it, and he kind of has a mental breakdown because at the same time he is.
Well, that happens later on in the movie, but really it's more about him trying to
deal with the girl.
Yeah, deal with the girl who's
So okay, and then we have William H. Macy's story, which is a previous winner of that children's game show from that last story with the boys on. And his main goal is basically he's watching the show and he's kind of regretting all the stuff he went through, and he's very obsessed with his physical appearance, including his teeth, and he thinks if he has braces or something like that.
I think he's gay in the movie too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He wants to impress men with his teeth, so he needs more money to get the braces. So he ends up going to his job and stealing money, and then we see that event unfold. What other events? I think we named them all. I think.
Pretty sure, yeah. Because they're all intertwined together. I mean, if you look at the father.
It's kind of hard to keep track in a way.
Because the father, before he gets I think we find out during the time that he is terminally ill, and he's not in the hospital the whole time, so he's trying to, with the wife, and the wife is like, I think there's some scenes where she's pushing herself away, if I remember right. Because I haven't watched the movie in about 10 years. It's one of those movies I've watched. It's a long movie to watch. It's if you're a movie fan, you'll watch it. I believe you got to give it a try. And so I'm trying to remember exactly. I really remember Tom Cruise's performance because I really loved it, then I also loved the ending of it. Actually, I was confused with the ending of it, to be honest. But it was like
a lot of people were. We're gonna get back to that in the end. That's gonna be fun. So so the ending, we're gonna have some spoilers on the show because there kind of has to be with this movie, and so near the end we'll discuss what happens.
Okay.
But to get back to the main story, what did you guys actually like about this movie? Do you think it's Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie? You think it's okay? You think it's his best story, worst story? What do you think? Well, actually, we're not.
I know.
Before you guys answer,
I was so excited.
We're gonna wrap.
We're gonna take a quick break before we answer our questions about it.
KWDC-LP, Stockton.
Be inspired and listen to everything from music, painting, and poetry with Big Blaze on The Art Show every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. here at KWDC 93.5 FM. Every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. with Big Blaze on The Art Show here at KWDC 93.5 FM.
When I was young, I was convicted of a gun crime and served 10 years in a federal prison. But that was nothing compared to the 120 months my brother had to walk home alone.
Hey, little man, come here. What you got in your bag?
Or the 520 weeks of sleepless nights my mother faced. Over 3,000 days my sister was left, afraid. That's over 80,000 hours I spent wishing I could turn back the clock. And in the end, I spent over 5 million minutes waiting to get out so I could be there for my family.
When's Daddy coming home?
All the while, my family counted the 315,360,000 seconds until they knew I was back, home.
When you go to jail for a gun crime, your family serves a sentence with you. Gun crimes hit home. This message brought to you by Project Safe Neighborhoods and the Ad Council.
Would it be crazy if you just stopped everything, packed your bags and left for a week, a month, a year? What if you left for 2 years? Would people think you'd lost your mind? What if you were going far away to help in a village on the edge of the Gobi Desert? A village crowded with Buddhist temples, not skyscrapers. A place where there isn't a word for recluse, but 1,000 words for community. Would it be crazy to go 5,000 miles from home? To spend time with people the rest of the world only reads about? To build libraries and fill them with stories? Prepare a meal with food you helped grow? To teach children and learn a thing or two about yourself? Would that be crazy? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
KWDC, LP Stockton, 93.5 FM.
They develop these false causes, and these false causes make it so that they have to do things, within their day-to-day life.
A couple weeks ago, I was out there for the back-to-school fundraiser drive at the Modesto Impact Teen Center. I was out there with my friend Matt Mackey, and we were doing it up, man.
We got to bring around the Oakland Athletics. I mean, I know their season has just been horrendous. They've lost 6 straight. Going into tonight, yesterday they lost 18-2.
Parents who visit the school and contact the school and communicate with the school and pay attention to it, those kids are given, I think, better attention.
I know nothing about the game other than it's Lego and Batman.
Really?
Well, it's basically
It's a trilogy. I know what it is. Yeah, tell me. Or we can just talk about Minecraft. That's the last thing. Yeah.
Okay. This is Douglas Murray, defensive coordinator and assistant head coach at Delta College. KWDC 93.5 FM.
You're listening to the Movie Talk on KWDC 93.5 FM.
And welcome back to 93.5 KWDC. This is Movie Talk. I am your host, Alton Henry. Right next to me is
Paul Besto.
And
the guy from the street,
Richard Reyes. Come on down.
All right, dude. I thought we were on a movie show, not a game show.
This movie does have a game show in it. So it correlates with each other.
Oh, I want my prize in. I want a new car.
All right, so the last question I left you guys with was if you like this movie,
what movie?
Magnolia. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You forgot
talking
already?
about Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. I'm asking if they liked the movie or if it's Paul Thomas Anderson's best work or worst work.
I'll have to be honest. It is better than Inherent Vice.
Okay.
Because when we were talking about Inherent Vice, I said that's probably my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson. But I think Magnolia is his better film because I think it is better written.
Well, what is his best film?
Probably There Will Be Blood will probably be up there with Masterpiece.
Oh.
But I still think Magnolia is a masterpiece by itself, too.
Did he write the movie, too?
I actually bought
this.
This
is his most original script. That's why I like this one particularly.
The script, the writing of it, the dialogue is just so good. I mean, it keeps you trapped. It will keep you trapped into it, just like There Shall Be Blood. Because There Shall Be Blood is one of those movies where you really have to be able to tolerate it. You know, especially with Daniel Day-Lewis, he's such a great actor. But when you look at Magnolia, every actor is like it's perfect.
They're like spot on.
Yeah,
right.
they're very spot on. William H Macy, Tom Cruise, Julianne Moore, what's her name?
Julianne Moore.
Why do I want to say Julianne Moore. They're perfectly spot on. They're perfectly well casted right. There's no typecast, overcast wise. So
there's Philip Baker Hall. There's also
John C. Reilly, who a lot of people will remember him, like we said, from Step Brothers. So you think John C. Reilly, you think Walk Hard and Step Brother. You don't see him as a dramatic actor. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched Gangs of New York. I really didn't like him as that role as a sheriff. So
he was also in Casualties of War, Brian De Palma's Vietnam War film.
Well, thank you very much, Alton.
So this film, in the beginning, it begins with a narration that recounts 3 instances of incredible coincidences and suggests what is to be revealed are forces that are greater than chance that play an important role in life. So that's what the whole movie kind of, from that narration sets up everything.
Actually, I really liked that part.
Coincidence, yeah, it's actually one of my favorite openings. Coincidences and how fate kind of intertwines with forces greater than chance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of describes the whole movie in that beginning narration. That beginning narration, it's like 15 minutes. I think 10 to 15 minutes. Of narration.
I think it's like 7 minutes. Like 5 to 7 minutes. I feel
it's really long, but it's really great. There's a lot of that's where most of the poetry is, in my opinion.
I gotta go with Tom Cruise's role. There's a lot of good poetry in there. If people can handle what he says, because it's so very graphic. It's so very well played by Tom Cruise. It's a role you don't usually ever see Tom Cruise play until Tropical Thunder came out. It was stuff that Tom Cruise never really had come out of his mouth. But I think his role is so well written. I think how he acts and performs while he's talking, especially with the hair. Yeah. The hair was so crazy because it was down to his shoulders, and that's another thing you don't see until like Interview with a Vampire. I think was where he actually had a lot of long hair. So I think his role was so well done.
I think Rock of Ages, or he was in that Rock movie.
Rock of Ages.
Do we count that movie as a Tom Cruise movie? I mean, there's a lot of cameos in it, right?
I gotta go with he's a guest starring actor in that movie because he's really just right there for that one moment, and then he's off, and then he's not really the main attraction. He's just a guy who was able to get cast in that role. He's like a Matt Damon in
Interstellar?
Euro Trip. Matt Damon in Euro Trip when he just comes and sings that one song and then he's gone for the rest of the movie. But no, go ahead. You were saying something.
So just to continue with the film. There's 9 stories like we're talking about, and they all intertwine. There's something that happens in the end that
freaks me out,
blows everybody away, and a lot of audiences either hate it or
they question
it, or they really love it. Yeah. And for me, I remember questioning it and really loving it. But now we're going to release the spoilers of what kind of happens in the end. So as these characters, as we see these stories grow deeper in the drama. A sudden catastrophe or event happens
where the climax.
Right.
It's where a bunch of frogs.
You just ruined it. Thanks a lot.
Right. Well, we are going to ruin it. It starts raining frogs in the movie.
Yeah, I'm very upset now because Alton. We were setting it up nice, and Alton goes, "There's a bunch of frogs." Alton, we were very upset. You have to leave the room now. No. But go ahead. Someone take it over.
So yeah, at the end of the movie, frogs rain from the sky, and it happens for a good while. And a lot of people didn't understand this. Like, why did this happen all of a sudden? This never alluded to anything in the film. Never alluded to this. It just happens.
And what it is, they rape frogs. It's not like when the frogs hit something, they live and they start hopping around. They start dying on the windshield. Right. Blood starts splattering.
It's kind of like it's a biblical reference, but then the director said it wasn't meant to be a biblical reference.
I don't even know what he's referencing to be honest.
So
I watched that scene, especially with Julianne Moore, because that's when it starting to happen. It was when she's driving, and all of a sudden a frog just hits the windshield, and then more frogs and more frogs.
Yeah, actually, she's in the ambulance from a drug overdose.
Well, she's still driving though.
No, she's not.
She was driving, wasn't she?
No, she's in the hospital. She's in the ambulance.
I think ruining your guys' show today.
I think you mean maybe.
There was someone driving.
I think it was the mother. The daughter who was on cocaine or something, who was trying to date with John C. Reilly.
Either way, they're in the car, and the frogs start hitting. That's where I really was like, what the heck's going on? And it just happens throughout everywhere. It's not just that one part of the movie where it happens. It happens all over pretty much wherever the world is. These stars are casted.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of go do the analysis now, and then I'll get all of your guys' analysis. Would you like me to go first?
Go for it. You're
Okay. So.
Hold on. We're actually.
We're gonna wrap up. So
yeah, we're gonna take a break because I'm excited. I want to keep this pressure of knowing what you're about to say.
Right.
So.
Okay. So we'll
be back here at KWDC 93.5.
In 1805, Lewis and Clark described in their journals a country teeming with wildlife.
Bison as far as the eye can see. Rivers churning with fish.
They wrote of scenes of endless beauty and of meeting more than 100 nations of American Indian whose lives were one with our environment. Now, imagine what Lewis and Clark and the American Indians they met would say if they walked the trail today. Would they be pleased?
There are herds of homes where the buffalo once roamed.
Or would they feel differently?
Something must be done to save what's left of this great place.
As we commemorate the Lewis and Clark bicentennial, we encourage you to consider what's been lost and what we can do to preserve what's left of the trail that still winds through us all. Walk with Lewis and Clark and see what you discover at www.lewisandclark200.org.
This is a public service message of the National Council of the Lewis and Clark Bicentennial, the Missouri Historical Society, and the Ad Council.
KWDC Above Gravity. Above Gravity raises consciousness about environment, health, politics, and community.
We are talking about air today. Air is a large subject, and we're touching on a bunch of different aspects of it. One of the most obvious is the sea of air that we live in, our atmosphere.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at KWDC LP Stockton, 93.5 FM.
You put your keys between your knuckles. You walk in well-lit areas. Stay clear of parked vans. Someone approaches you and you cross to the other side of the street. Your cell phone is ready, the numbers for help saved on speed dial. You lock the door behind you, once, twice, maybe 3 times. Now you feel safe, secure. You think you've made the right choices to protect yourself. Think again. Because if you're not making healthy choices, you could be one of the nearly 2 out of 3 women killed by cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So eat right, get active, don't smoke, see your doctor, and live. Learn to protect yourself from yourself at 1-866-399-6789 or visit us at everydaychoices.org. A message from the American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Movie Talk on KWDC 93.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to KWDC 93.5. Richard Reyes into his house with
Paul Besto.
And running back in time for the bathroom break is Mr.
Alton Henry.
Alton, we missed you, man. I really felt alone. I was like panicking. I was shaking Paul. He's like, I don't know where Alton's at. So luckily you made it back from the dark side.
I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, you had Star Wars music played. I thought,
Well, I do love Star Wars. I mean, I can't go wrong. I do love Star Wars. Darth Vader, man, is my favorite.
All right, so we're back with Paul Thomas Anderson's film Magnolia. We've described what the film's about, and now we're going to do an analysis. And before break, we were discussing the big spoiler ending in the film, which is in
raining frogs.
It randomly rains frogs in the film.
It's raining frogs.
So here's my analysis. I kind of combined mine and a lot of other people and friends I have online. So we'll see how it pans out. So in my opinion, I think all the characters desire what is obtainable within their limits, and they act on these desires in order to redeem and fill the sadness that has plagued them in the past. And the allegory of coincidences fits well, as we also go through and experience similar struggles as the characters struggle with. And in the end, the coincidences happen together, but they are interrupted. And the frogs in the end is a biblical reference to the book of Exodus. And Paul Thomas Anderson, the director, denies the biblical reference, but I'm kind of going to disagree with him because a lot of his other movies have biblical references, and I think it kind of ties in with this. So in the book of Exodus, the specific verse he is referring to with the frogs is chapter 8, verse 2, and the verse is, "And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs." So the film has an underlying theme of unexplained events, and Paul Thomas Anderson says he got it from I think a science fiction author that had a similar story in a way. But the various references in this Exodus is the number 82. So we have Exodus 8, chapter 8, verse 2, and then the number 82 reoccurs significantly throughout the film. So at the very beginning, there's a man being hanged, and he bears a sign reading 82. There's a plane that kills the character Darian, and he has the number 82 painted on his side. At the poker table, there's a man that asks for a 2 and gets an 8. In the jumping scene, there's a roof border that reads the number 82. There's a room called 682. There's a forensic meeting, which is at the time of 8:20, so 82. And there's an answering machine that when someone answers the phone, and the number is 82. So talk about coincidences with numbers. So I think the frogs are a metaphor for weird things happening at unexpected moments, but they all have a purpose in the greater scope of unfolding events. As the narrator sums up in the beginning of the movie, there are stories of coincidences and chance, and intersections and strange things told, and which is which, who only knows. And is in my humble opinion of this narrator that these strange things happen all the time, and so it goes, and so it goes. And the book says we may be through with the past, but the past is not through with us. And so that one line kind of paves the path throughout the rest of the movie. Characters who have this past, and they're trying to get away from it, but they can't.
I like that.
So that was my analysis. What do you guys think about the frogs? Do you think it is a biblical reference, or did he purposely do it as... Well, the other reason why I kind of think of the frogs was meaningful in the film, because all the characters aren't really affected while the frogs are raining down. They kind of keep... They further investigate their desires. So they're not stopping. They don't say, "Hey, look, there's frogs in the sky raining. Oh my God, what's going on?" They kind of keep doing their same task, or they stop doing something, someone dies, something like that. There's only one character that does acknowledge the frogs, and that is the little boy, where we kind of go back to the theme of children, the cruelty of children having a long-lasting effect. And the boy kind of acknowledges the frogs as, "Oh, this kind of happens every day, and I'm used to it," kind of thing. So he's kind of unfazed by it, too, in a way. So I think that completes the analysis. In my opinion, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, LT.
I think it's kind of like a wake-up call, because not all the characters are affected when it's raining frogs down. So I think it's a wake-up call for everyone to stop their struggles, and to, I guess, just make peace with themselves and what they've done in their past, and what they've done to their loved ones, and just to accept forgiveness, just forgive one another.
But they're too obsessed with their
they're too obsessed with their desires, and when they're within their flaws, they kind of forget about forgiving one another about what they want out of each other, just out of loved ones. I know that Tom Cruise's character, he really, really wants his father to love him, but he just filled with so much hate for his father not taking care of his mother and just abandoning them. He really wants to love his dad. And when it started raining frogs, Tom Cruise and I can't remember the dude who plays his dad, they're not affected by the frogs at all. They're just staring at each other, just looking at each other, like they acknowledge their forgiveness to each other.
And that's what's interesting about the film. So the audience is like, "Oh my God, it's raining frogs," but all these other characters are kind of unfazed by it. Okay, so we've talked about Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography. We've just discussed Magnolia. So let's jump into The Master, which was made in 2012. It's a pretty recent film.
Hold on, would you guys recommend Magnolia to anybody?
I would.
Yes, I would recommend it, but I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of mainstream audiences.
I mean, if you're into,
they can't sit through 3-hour movies, especially if it's drama.
Philosophical dramas, kind of artsy dramas, I would say see it. Okay. Or if you want to see something new that you're kind of sick of seeing remakes and sequels, maybe see this movie.
Or see something original. Yeah, check
this
out
movie's
Magnolia.
original.
Interesting. Okay. And we are going to The Masters now?
The Master. Right.
The Master.
Yeah. So this is written, directed, co-produced by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. And it tells the story of Freddie Quell, who is Joaquin's Phoenix character, and he's a World War II veteran struggling to adjust to a post-war society. And he meets Lancaster Dodd, who is Hoffman, a leader of a religious movement known as the Cause. And Dodd sees something in Quell and accepts him into the movement. And Freddie takes a liking to the Cause and begins traveling with Dodd along the East Coast to spread the teachings. So Paul Thomas Anderson was interested in veterans in World War II, and because at that time there was a lot of new religions coming around. There was Scientology and a lot of cults, and I think this specific film is kind of referencing Scientology. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Scientology is kind of similar of the events that kind of unfold in this film. So, Alton, have you seen this movie?
Yes, I have. I've only seen it once, though. It's been a little bit since I've seen it. It's,
okay. So this film, have you seen this?
No, I have not been able to watch this one yet.
All right, so good. Then you can ask questions if you have any questions. But we'll hold your questions till the end of the break.
You guys are going to be too excited here.
All right. We'll be back on KWDC 93.5. Stay tuned.
Hello.
Hi, Bill? This is George Dewey from up the street.
Oh, hey, George. How you doing?
Good. Say, I noticed you've been walking to work these days instead of driving. And I don't quite know how to say this, but...
But what?
But your butt. Your buttocks. Your butt. I think I found your butt on my front lawn. Have you recently lost it?
As a matter of fact, I have, George. It's about time someone noticed.
Well, it was kind of hard to miss, if you know what I mean. Anyways, would you like it back?
Would I like it back? No, not really.
So it's okay if I throw it out?
Sure, that's fine. Take it easy, George.
Small step number 8. Walk instead of driving whenever you can. It's just one of the many small steps you can take to help you become a healthier, you. Get started at www.smallstep.gov and take a small step to get healthy.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KWDC Above Gravity. Above Gravity raises consciousness about environment, health, politics, and community.
We are talking about air today. Air is a large subject, and we're touching on a bunch of different aspects of it. One of the most obvious is the sea of air that we live in, our atmosphere.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at KWDC LP Stockton, 93.5 FM.
You're listening to the Movie Talk on KWDC 93.5 FM.
Welcome back to 93.5. This is Movie Talk, and I love that music. Now we're going to talk about P.T. Anderson's The Master. Have any of you guys seen it?
We just went through that.
Yeah, we did this.
Where were you? I mean, you even answered the question if we just saw it.
But I just explained the plot summary, which is World War II vet comes back, meets a guy who wants to start a religion, and together the guy starting the religion is trying to help the veteran.
Now, which guy is the one who started the religion again?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
And how would you say, what's the name of his character?
The name?
Yeah.
Is Lancaster Dodd.
Okay, wow, that's someone I want to follow. All right, so Mr. Lancaster here. How would you say he portrayed as a guy? Say you're a World War II veteran, Paul. This is Paul. Paul's coming back from the war. He survived Iwo Jima and all that good stuff. All right, so you meet Lancaster. He starts talking to you about religion. Do you follow him just by the performance of Seymour Philip Hoffman?
Oh,
Did you buy into it?
I bought into it because, well, to begin, the veteran was conveyed very as like a weak person who's kind of lost in the world. He's in search for family and stability. He misses his last love, and so he's out of love, and he's trying to find.
So he's pretty much a lost soul.
Yeah, pretty much just going around drinking and having sex with random women.
And so Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of comes in and helps him, and he basically says like, I can heal you from all your sins. I can heal you from having these desires and
would you consider him like a prophet or some guy who's just
No, he's a very good manipulator, especially in this film.
That's what I was looking for.
There's some great dialogue scenes between Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, where, man, like it in a way, like Philip Seymour Hoffman made some great points about this new religion he's making. And there's a lot of people that doubt him. There's a lot of characters that doubt him, except, Joaquin Phoenix's character is kind of in between ins and outs.
So you could say Anderson, in this movie, he truly tried to get into religion a lot more.
I think he's more interested in showing how a cult or a religious sect can influence someone and manipulate someone in a negative sense. And that's why this movie was really controversial at the time. Because
also Philip Seymour Hoffman, he wasn't really noticed until Capote came out.
Yeah, well, he's always played supporting roles.
Yeah, he's been always a great actor, no matter what roles he's ever done. He's really put all out. He was really never the main lead actor until Capote. But so you look at this type of movie, I don't know how many Philip Seymour Hoffman movies you've watched of his. The guy was just under everybody, and finally he was able to break out. So do you believe this is one of his top 5 roles?
Ooh.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I would say that.
I thought he's in a lot of this movie. He's basically the buddy.
Is he supporting or main actor in this one?
He's the main actor.
He's more supporting.
You think so?
Yeah, the main actor is.
Well, who's the story mostly looking forward to? It's mostly Joaquin.
We're on the journey with Joaquin Phoenix as he's trying to.
So yeah, I would say supporting actor
to find himself, and.
Now, how does Joaquin Phoenix now, as he's obviously you just said he's lost everybody, he's no friends, he's like a Rambo, he's in the world.
He's kind of like Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. He has these wicked thoughts, but he's also very lonely.
Okay. So he's like Travis here, and he's walking through this world, and he runs into Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, during the movie, is he like open arms to like, whoa, maybe he can't help me, or is he like questioning him, or does he question him later in the movie?
He I would say he kind of starts questioning him whether he's legit or not, because when they first start figuring out what's Joaquin Phoenix's problem, Joaquin Phoenix starts to sort of toy with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, whether he's the real thing or not, or whether can he really help through his struggles, or what he had to do in the war.
Yeah, both characters kind of toy with each other. Sometimes they end in heated arguments. Other times, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Joaquin Phoenix's character is very confused.
How's the acting to it all? I mean, do they pull it off?
Oh,
they pull it off really good.
It's really well. It's one of those movies where not only the visuals are great, but the acting kind of brings it all together. But speaking of visuals, we should go into the cinematography. And what I really liked about this movie when I first saw it, the opening shot is of an ocean, and waves are kind of dispersing, so we kind of feel like we're on a ship. If you ever look on the back of a ship, there's like waves kind of parting. And then later in the film, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character shows Freddy, Joaquin Phoenix character, Rorschach ink blot test, and it mimics that opening shot. And I like how Anderson really holds that opening shot for a while, because it's like the audience is undergoing this psychological test of what we believe and what we don't believe, and how much of nature should we kind of embrace.
Okay.
Because the whole movie is either Joaquin Phoenix's character stays in his current state, and he has all these desires, and he's supposedly sinning and has all these problems, or he transforms into this group, the Cause, where he's is relieved of his sin and knows the way of grace.
Okay, my question for you, though. With Philip Seymour Hoffman's religious-wise, have you ever seen the movie Doubt?
No.
Doubt? I don't think so.
Okay,
no.
okay. Well, in this movie, he's a Catholic priest, and he's trying to...
Oh, I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay. So
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. Okay, so would you say... Oh, since you haven't seen the movie yet, let me try to see. Would you, in a religious-type sense, obviously you said you would follow because he pulls the portrayal so well. Do you believe he could start his own cult if he was able to play it that well?
I bet he can.
I think he'd be very persuasive.
The cults and religions these days, you could pull something off like that. I mean, I'm sure he could be manipulative, but he's not here with us anymore. So
he's over there. He's doing whatever he does up there. Would you recommend this to a religious person?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we're always, if you're religious or spiritual or whatnot, you're always looking how you're trying to. In a way, you have to embrace sin in a certain way if you're going to explore something new.
Okay.
And let's say, the 10 Commandments, honor thy father and mother. Well, what if I love movies and my father and mother are like, oh, you can't see that movie, and I go see it, and once I see that movie, I'm like, I want to make movies the rest of my life.
You know what? Now that you mentioned something like that, give me an example of what.
That's an example.
No. But I mean, that's your example, though.
Oh, give me an example, like if
no. What Philip Seymour Hoffman did to Joaquin Phoenix.
And there's a scene. One of my favorite scenes is Philip Seymour Hoffman's trying to heal him, and he's Joaquin Phoenix's character is walking back and forth in like a room, and on one side there's a window with like nature, and then on the other side, it's just there's nothing. It's more like it's like lit in darkness. And as Joaquin Phoenix gets to the window, he pounds on the window because he wants to get back to that nature, to his own state, but he wants to be healed at the same time too. So there's conflict like that in the film, if that answers your question.
Okay, so what about you, Alton? What did you say when you were watching the movie? What was the part when Philip Seymour Hoffman's pretending to be a god? What would you say would be the one like, whoa?
Well, he's not God. He's like the prophet.
Well, no, I'm not saying like God, but he's trying to act like a god, like he's as you said, a prophet, to where something where he's not the.
That's kind of a tough one because there are a lot of good scenes where he kind of portrays himself as kind of like a prophet.
What would be your one where you? I mean, when you watch a religious movie, and they're out there for a reason. Mm-hmm. They're either there to make you question your faith, or they're there to make you open your eyes about faith.
It depends how it's being conveyed.
That's what I'm saying. There's all kinds of religious movies. What would be your say where Philip Seymour Hoffman's telling Joaquin Phoenix, hey, I can heal you, I can make you a better person, I can help end your struggle. What would be your one where you saw it and you were just like, he needs to follow him, or he needs to break away? What scene broke out to you the most during that time?
Honestly, I feel like, the scene I'm thinking about now, I feel like it's kind of the opposite, where Philip Seymour Hoffman is being questioned about his cult, his group, where a guy comes in there and he ends up questioning them about what kind of methods they are to convey their religious beliefs on people. And then I think it's like a 5-6 minute scene where the guy just keeps questioning Philip Seymour Hoffman about his beliefs. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman does get mad, and while Joaquin Phoenix kind of observes, he himself also starts to question whether or not Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is really who he says he is. Like is his religion really that? Is it really beneficial for him to save Joaquin Phoenix? I think that scene kind of sticks out to me, where where you're questioning whether or not this prophet is really believable or not.
All right, I got one more question for you guys, but I'm gonna wait till we go on this big commercial break that's really gonna just pump up the show 10 times better. Alton, tell me where we're listening to.
We're listening to me.
Oh God! All right, never mind.
Me. 93.5 KWDC Movie Talk, and
we'll be back.
We'll be back, man.
Nothing inspires imagination like reading, and it's never too early to start reading to your children. When you open a book, you can explore new worlds like the ones in the Chronicles of Narnia.
Everything you see is Narnia.
Impossible. You can make new friends, discover amazing adventures, and most of all, have fun.
Are you prepared for what awaits you?
To find out more about the wonders of reading, you can visit the Library of Congress website at www.loc.gov. There, you can learn more about books, play fun games, discover cool facts, and so much more. You can log on to www.loc.gov and let your journey begin. This message has been brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Yeah, more news has been going on.
Mustangs, prepare for glory.
D-Squad.
D-Unit.
Gosh, I love that intro. It just gets you hyped, ready to talk about some top sports stories of the day.
Your guys' rating just went up so much.
And we have a special guest on the line right now. That's Yogi Roth from the Pac-12 Networks. Jason Ross is joining us.
Former writer for the San Diego Union Tribune, Sports Illustrated, current NFL reporter for ESPN, Mr. Jim Trotter. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Listen to the KWDC Benchwarmers Tuesday to Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. right here on KWDC 93.5.
You're listening to the Movie Talk on KWDC 93.5 FM.
And welcome back to Movie Talk. This is your host, Alton Henry, and we were talking about The Master. We're gonna...
We're here in their studio with you, just in case we didn't leave anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, Richard Reyes with
Paul Besto.
Thank you. Thank you for taking all the spotlight, maniac. I'm just.
You're good.
Okay, looks like we're gonna compete against one another about who takes the lead here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll just be the special guest. Anyway.
No, I'm good. I mean, this is a shared environment. We're all cinema lovers.
So
here.
we're discussing Paul Thomas Anderson's film, The Master.
Boom shakalaka.
And we're talking about. Well, you had a question for us.
I was gonna. Oh man,
we're talking about religion and how it happens in this film and everything.
I was going to ask you guys, where would you rank this one? With the top religion, you got your Passion of the Christ, you got your 10 Commandments, you got all those.
See, for me, Passion of Christ is not even on the list.
Really? Wow. All right. So that's going to be a discussion some other time right there.
That's another movie talk segment.
Yeah. All right. So tell me, where would you guys put this with religion? I mean, there's obviously
for just religious films and like top religious films to see.
Just where would you guys rank? Would you guys rank this as a very controversial type religion movie? Would you rate this as a movie that'll actually maybe open your eyes towards religion? Where does this movie rank with your guys' religion?
That's a very good question. I don't really consider it as a religious movie because it's just starting a cult, and it's not clarified, at least from I've only seen it twice, but it's not really clarified what religion it is. I've heard it's Scientology, and if I am ranking a religious film, if this is a religious film that I'm ranking, well, I mean, I would rank it pretty high.
Top 10, 15, 5?
Probably top 5.
Oh, you really like this movie.
Yeah. I really like
so you really liked it.
But there's not a lot of religious movies that stand out to me. Other than, like, my top one, my number one is probably Last Temptation of Christ. And then.
Ooh, that's an old one. Oldie but goodie.
And, a couple of religious films like that.
Okay.
And in that vein. But, like, if you're talking about religious movies like God's Not Dead.
Okay, hold on. How about this? Let's before I let Alton answer your question. How about religious movies? It's with cinematography and all that. How would you?
Oh, okay.
Okay, how would you like? Let's make it a little better with that one.
I would say this was definitely top 5. The cinematography is great. It's shot on a glorious 70 millimeter film. 65% or 20% of the film was shot in 65, and the remainder was shot in 35. I'm going like too much into the film. How it was filmed.
Just enjoy your moment.
But it was it's nicely shot. It looks great on an HD. I watched it on TV. I wish I would have gone to the movies and saw it, but it looked great on the TV.
Fortunately, I was working at the theater while I was playing. I didn't get to go watch it.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh man, missed out.
And there's some shots that really stand out. I was talking about the ocean shot earlier, where the waves are the first shot of the movie. The waves are dispersing like a Rorschach ink blot test, and we see that later in the film. There's another shot where Joaquin Phoenix's character is like hanging off the side of the ship, and it's like an aerial shot, almost like a medium close up. and you can see like the ocean in the behind. It looks like he's like trying to grab the ocean, like he's grabbing nature.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of powerful visuals that really work with this film, and work with all Paul Thomas Anderson's films. That they really stand out to me, especially because I like looking at and analyzing what's in the frame. What about you, Alton?
What
Any
about
favorite
you, Alton?
shots?
My favorite shot would have to be a little of a sequence where I don't know if I mentioned this already. Where Joaquin Phoenix is, where when he gets back to America, he has that job where he takes pictures at people.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
Where he ends up kind of toying with a customer, where he keeps bringing the light closer to him, and the camera is in a wide angle, and it keeps panning Joaquin Phoenix, and it just follows him on his movements on what he's gonna do next. And I thought that was kind of very suspenseful, but the cinematography on that scene looks pretty good, and the camera, it's all done in one take. So whatever happens in that scene, it follows Joaquin Phoenix where he starts toying with him. Then they end up getting into a fight, and then they pretty much fight around the mall. I think they're at a mall where that scene takes place, and the camera follows them around. I don't know. I think that's like a 5 minute.
It's like a one. Yeah.
It's like a 5 minute one take shot.
Paul Thomas Anderson's famous for the lengthy one take shots.
Oh, that's one thing I loved about that. There Shall Be Blood.
And in Magnolia, I think it's probably the greatest I've ever seen because it focuses on like different characters entering the room and exiting the room, and it looks like there's like no mistakes. It's like crazy.
All right, Alton, religion-wise, where is this movie ranking the Alton religion movie?
The Alton.
I'll have to say probably the top 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Yeah.
You guys are making me want to watch this one.
Because
now.
I mean, honestly, I'm not too big on religious movies. But then again, I do like watching movies where they kind of spur a little controversy when it deals with religion. It kind of makes you curious as to what they're doing in this film differently than what they've done in the last film that kind of questions about religion. And I really like the film when it really tackles that. And then I'll have to say it kind of ranks up with Passion of the Christ. And then probably...
But Paul over here don't like it, you know?
Well, see, I wouldn't really rank this as a religious movie. It just... it deals with religion.
It's pretty much the
it has religious themes.
Okay.
I mean, it questions it.
Right.
So would you put that in the religious themes category then?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Paul.
There's going to be a lot of categories for this guy's film.
I mean, there's that. There's the Passion of the Christ and the Last Temptation of Christ, and then there's another religious movie, but it's more animated oriented, and I don't know if I would. Well, it's called End of Evangelion, but I would say that's probably one of my top. That's also included in my top 5.
Ooh, not bad, not bad. Okay, well, I mean, I can't really put it anywhere yet, but I mean, it sounds interesting. I like cult movies because I always want to join one, so I mean, maybe this will help.
Well,
me.
there's also one movie, but it's considered one of the most controversial, but I've never seen it, and it looks very disturbing to actually recommend to people.
What's this one?
No, not this one. Not this one. There's another one.
What's it called?
I think it's called like The Angels or something. I think it's like a European movie with Donald Sutherland or something.
I don't know.
I have no
But let's
idea.
go on to the analysis of this film. So, the character Freddy by Joaquin Phoenix, he has all these desires, sexual urges that suppress him from society, and Hoffman uses brainwashing to cure him, but he ultimately does not. And this film, I kind of correlate it with Clockwork Orange. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
And in the movie, the main character Alex is trying, he has all these sexual desires, kind of like this protagonist, and he ends up getting a deal because he goes to prison for crimes, and he ends up getting a deal where we'll rehabilitate you for this 3-day process, and you'll be without sin. And so he does it, and he can't cope without sinning, and he goes insane.
Wow.
So this movie kind of goes in that route where Joaquin Phoenix's character is like psychologically toyed with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, and Joaquin Phoenix's character ultimately goes back to sin because he can't handle what someone else is telling him to do. So if you have sins, you're gonna act up on these desires.
He gave up on his demons. Is pretty
Right.
much what he did. He came to his demons.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alti.
Alti.
Well, actually, you kind of pretty much summed it up for me, or how Joaquin Phoenix kind of wanted to try to get away from sin with allowing Philip Seymour Hoffman's character to try to change him, but then after that kind of failed, he ends up being invited to meet Philip Seymour Hoffman again for one last time, and he kind of informs him that he wouldn't be able to fit back into his cult because he just he's too subtle with sin. He's
too different.
He's too.
He's
I'll
an
say he's used to it. I think he's really used to it. And I think he really accepts it. But then at the end, I kind of figured even though he acknowledged his sins, I think in the film it kind of gives us sort of like a little view of hope that he's probably gonna be much more of a good person, because at the end, while he's with a woman, he kind of recites a little bit of Philip Seymour Hoffman's quotes in the film, and I thought that was kind of, even though he's a sinner, I think he's gonna at least pass on some goodness in his life.
One quick question: recommend it? Yes, no?
Yes, but not as Paul Thomas Anderson's first film. Like, if someone's new to this director and kind of new to film, I'd probably suggest Magnolia more.
Okay. Well, Thou Shalt Be Blood?
Or that movie.
Okay.
If you're new, if you already like artsy films and stuff and all that, then I would definitely recommend it.
Well, I got one more thing to say before we wrap this up too.
Come on, Richard.
Paul Thomas Anderson, he seems to always have a lot of religion in his movies. Because
they're
Magnolia,
biblical
Magnolia,
references.
The Masters, and also There Shall Be Blood, they actually had a preacher in that one talking about Satan.
Right.
I just really recently caught on to that. So religion director who always has something in there. Would you say that?
Yeah.
No, he's not a religion director.
No?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
All right.
He just has biblical references.
Okay, I can go with that one too. All right. So Alton, what are we going to be listening to next Wednesday?
Next week we're going to be listening to Boogie Nights, and then the next film we're also going to talk about with Paul Thomas Anderson would be
Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, Punch Drunk Love. Sorry,
his second film, second indie film. But
Is
before
it
we
second
go,
film?
right before we go, there's going to be Delta Film Society Film Club here at the RTV station at Delta College. Everyone's invited. The public's invited. For any of those moviegoers out there, this is the club for you.
All right,
and we are out of here.
This is Annie B. Real with a spaz of realness here on KWDC 90.